Yay!
Tax
So I'm
day.
I'm
Oh yeah,
I'm
April 15th, huh?
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Well, it's not what it used to be. So I'm here in Atlanta. Usually, I'll see a lot of movement, like a lot of people shaking. Tax day. I really haven't been seeing a whole lot of that kind of excitement in the air. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the inflation.
I think
Never.
tariff day kind of let the wind out of those sails.
Yeah.
Every day is tariff day nowadays.
That's
yeah,
right. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, the uncertainty of people not knowing what was going to be their commitment. So
Mm.
that's kind of putting
All
things
right,
in.
leaving politics aside, let's start with some wins. Um, it, does
I
anyone
filed an
have any wins?
extension today, so there's a win.
All right,
Let's see.
I
Well,
guess John has some
I
wins.
didn't die from whatever it was I had last week. There's another win. Um, I got I got our heat map thing done, so we can start putting that into Review Genius. And then I also let's see, I modified, I got the prompt on the back end of the Review Genius uh review suggest page completely tuned up, and now it doesn't make
Mm,
stuff up, and it's
nice.
actually way better. Well, we were having some people with problems with making it was just making up scenarios, and so it took a little bit of tweaking. Like it was just a few words here and there to really get that prompt tuned up, so it wouldn't do that. So it's all good. So, and I'm gonna have a little update to the review suggest. That's gonna have some more stuff, some nice little features. So we're gonna be updating like the review genius suggest stuff coming up here.
Nice.
So, yep,
Perfect.
That is
Hey, I got
those
awesome.
a
were
win.
all those are all the wins.
I got a $6,000 win I want to tell you guys about.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Let's hear it.
So I have a client, a signed business client, and she was moving. And so I went into her place and I said, "Hey, I hear you're moving. Can we do your signs for you again?" And she goes, "Yeah, that'd be great." So and then I said, "By the way, I know you're moving, but you really need is digital marketing." And she goes, "Okay, well, send me some information on that." And I said, "Because you're spending money on Google Ads and stuff like that, right?" And she goes, "Yeah." So I sent her a proposal, and then she signed up for the Review Genius. Mine is called the Google Review Engine. So thank you very much for that, guys. So I signed her up for $97 a month for that. And then she got back to me and she said, "Well, you were going to get back to me with the digital marketing proposal." And I said, "Oh, it was what I sent you, but obviously, let me just send it to you again." So I sent it to her again, and so I have my Google Visibility, which is basically the page product,
Page.
and you pay $97 a month for that. And I was charging her $1,000, or offering it to her for a $500 setup fee. $1,000 a month includes the uh, Review Genius, the visibility regimen through Page, and then also my website concierge widget, and the whole thing for $1,300 a month. And I gave her a $300 discount, so it's $1,000 a month. And she goes, "Yeah, that's too rich for me." And so I went back to her, and this is a store that my wife shops at as well. And I said, "Listen, I talked to my wife Barbara, and we're going to give it to you for $500 a month." Oh, she said to me, she goes, "What can I get for $500 a month?" I said, "You know what? I talked to my wife Barbara. We're going to give you the whole thing for $500 a month for a year. And what I need from you is to tell every small business person that you know how great Alley Cat Signs is, and blah blah blah." And she goes, "That's fantastic." And so she signed up for that. So I got a $4,800 bump on an annual premium, and that's thanks to you guys. You guys are the gateway drug for digital marketing, the whole thing. So
I
Awesome.
love being a gateway
thank you so
drug.
much.
Any
Just a
drug
little
is good.
bump just to see how it tastes.
Review Genius.
Congrats.
Review Genius is awesome.
Congrats, mate. Congrats.
It
Yeah.
is
That's awesome.
awesome. Can I go next?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go for
go
it.
for it.
All right. Well, Review Genius has been great. And just like he was saying, it has been really the conversation starter. especially when you're talking to the appropriate business. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
guys this story. One time I had an opportunity. I partnered up with a local influencer that's also on the Lineable, and I did a presentation on Review Genius. My version is Review Smart, and
Mm.
some of my most glaring reviews were on local businesses like a barber shop. And I used the Review Genius within 65 days. They were averaging like 15 calls a day, from 0 to 15 calls a day. And I went through the entire conversation. But then one of the things I realized was that I was speaking to an audience of people who were, by and large, not brick and mortar. They were literally solopreneurs. Oftentimes, so there was this disconnect because they kept saying, "Well, all of your case studies are on brick and mortar stores, but we are coaches, we are this and that, and we don't necessarily, leverage review the same ways that brick and mortars do." So during the Q&A, I was telling, I was like, "Well, the algorithm is the same for everybody. It's just that your ability to position yourself, it's not going to be based on people visiting you rather than the area you serve." So it was really interesting. And so the next time I was doing a presentation, I managed to get some solopreneur examples up in there, like local area businesses, to get that right. That's one. So that was the win. The ability to adapt, and just recalibrate, just so you speak to your audience, and meet them where they are. I want number two. Um, I've done probably like 3 or 4 review geniuses since March 17th. And everything since March 17th is working, appropriately just the way it's supposed to be. But
Good.
I realized, I guess I reach out to the group that everything before March 17th was getting a 500 error. So, I did a video, what's happening. Um, I believe I reached out to the group and someone told me to, I think it was a log. He told me to
Yeah,
go to
I told you to
VA.
reach out to HighLevel. Yeah.
Right. So I reached out to HighLevel and we kind of just poke around trying to see exactly what's happening. It turns out that the URL got corrupted.
That's
All
weird.
right. And so guess what? And I'm like, well, how are we going to do this? Because now I'm trying to figure if I'm good, if the ability, or who should I lean on to actually fix this? Do I come to you guys or should I go to my group? Review Genius, we're trying to, figure out what's what. And then we poke around troubleshooting. And he go ahead, he said, well, you know what? Let's just try this one thing. Let's clone that funnel step and see if the clone is going to work.
Mm.
So we literally cloned the funnel step. Like I'm telling you, everything I've done from March 17th to maybe 2 years ago, all of these people have no ability to use a review shield funnel because everybody's getting a 500 error. And so everybody's calling me, and I'm here sweating bullets trying to figure out how to resolve this problem. And then we cloned the funnel step, and it worked.
And it works.
And it
So
works.
some so
But it, but
Sometimes,
something
then
got
here's the
corrupted in the high
thing.
level save, or
But then here's the thing. Now I got to go back manually and reclone all of these fun steps of people calling me, and that's not the very fun thing to do. And I'm still going through that process because I got to go back
yeah.
to
So
you.
sometimes, see, that's
But
why I
but but
told you to
he,
reach
but
out to
here's the thing
HighLevel.
though. I look think about the possibility of this happening when you have 50,000 clients and they all
So that's the
working.
thing. This is what I mean. Like sometimes there are a few bugs which literally they also don't have an answer for. They literally, it's just like, hey, if your computer is not working, have you tried turning off and on? Sometimes that's the only solution, right? So this is the type of solution you found. Like, hey, they don't even know what has happened. It's just, hey, let's try if this works, right? Let's try to turn off the computer and turn it on. Maybe it will work, and it just works. So, I mean, can it happen when you have 50,000 customers? Most likely, yes. But then
it,
that means you'll have more leverage and
That's
power
kind of
to push
scary though.
higher.
That's what I'm saying.
well, it's
It's
kind of
That's the
a
tech you're playing with.
yeah.
It's technology, man. It can break
I've
anytime. So,
I've had pages where like when you're working in the funnel builder and you save it, or HighLevel does something like something freaky happens, and then you go to the page and it's like it won't load. It just happens with HighLevel sometimes. So they might have cloned. They could have. What they probably did is like if you clone the funnel and that works, then what you would need to do is repoint the domain to that newly cloned page as the base page and see if
Right.
that works. Because then that dirty page or what corrupted page is out of the loop. Hopefully. So
Okay.
So that's but good on it. Good on the wins. I'm just kind of
Yeah,
sucks on
at
the
least you
sucks on
figured
that
it out.
500 error. That's weird. I haven't run into that but once or twice where a page will just get wonky and you just got to go back and you can go back. They do have the previous versions, so you can restore an earlier version, and sometimes that fixes it, and then you can pick up where you left off. Because I've I've done it where I've lost some work before, and it's frustrating. But I save often. So
Okay.
Yeah, Haji, it's just like the Google review thing. Like glitches come in. Google's reviews have been working for years, and all of a sudden, a new line of code got put in, and I lost
Yeah.
70. I lost 70 Google
And yeah,
reviews, and so
yeah.
you can't worry about it. The
Right.
fix takes time, and then you just move on and you do it. So that's I don't want technology anxiety. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to sell it, and then if something crashes, I'll fix it then.
But
Right.
it's not about anxiety as well.
That's
Like
a good point.
when you're dealing with technology and so many different things, expect that this is going to happen. It's not about anxiety. Like be ready for it to happen. It's just when it is going to happen. If you have that mindset, you're not worried now. You're just ready for it, and then you're just working on the solution. So
It's
anything
never a
can break
matter of
anytime. Like
if.
dude,
It's
yeah,
never
it
a
is
matter
going to
of
happen.
if. It's a matter of
Like
when.
a few months ago,
It's gonna happen.
that happened with I don't know, Microsoft or something, where everything on the planet was shut down, all the airports and everything. Like talk about 50,000 pages shutting down, and this where every businesses were shut down, because that's going to happen, right? We're working with OpenAI.
No,
OpenAI
no,
will be
but I
down
was
one
just
day.
trying to make sure that it's not happening to anybody else. Maybe
Yeah, I
mine
mean,
was just a
thanks for sharing that. I
premature.
mean, I appreciate you sharing, and that's why the group and making a post in the group helps, because if someone else goes through that challenge, they can literally search the group and then find out, this is what the solution is. So maybe do me a favor, Haji, if you can, whenever you get a chance, in the same post, go ahead and reply or edit and say, hey, update, and then reply, this is what had happened. So if 5 months down the line someone has the same problem, they search the group, they see the solution there.
All right.
That is the exact reason we have that group, and so that we can all share our wins and problems also which we go through.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yep.
All right.
We got John, Kelly, Maury, Gianna, AI Florida. Well, hopefully you have a name. AI Florida. Anna, Jared, Dave. Everyone's in the house. John, how are you doing?
Good. How are you, Pat? Thanks. That was quick.
Oh yeah. No worries. No worries. We're quick on the support. So
Okay, cool.
Them
We
Haji.
try to. We try to be.
We just we ignore Haji. No, we don't.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
My biggest struggle right here is I've got the cards. I printed out some sample cards on
Mhm.
just business card template there. We got the QR code. We wanted to test them. We got pretty much most of the stuff working, but we're at this standstill now with the Google My Business, whatever step that is in the video.
So is it where you're on the landing page and you're typing in the business and it's doing the auto complete, or is it okay? So
yeah, I
that's
can't
the
get
API
that.
issue.
So that's not Google My Business. That's the Google APIs.
It's Google API.
So
Okay. So let
So-
me jump. I'm just going to pull up my lesson thing here, and maybe I can reference it, and you can tell me where I should be or what I'm missing on there. So it's the Google API,
Mhm.
which I believe I already connected on there as well. So we kind of got stuck on this. Let me pull this up. We got stuck on this Google My Business where I'm putting in, I think Pat, I was telling you this. I'm putting in my business name, address, which is a home office, and it keeps
Yeah.
rejecting it. It's asking me to upload a video.
Okay. Now I understand what you're talking about. So on your private GBP, so what you can do with that, and I myself, like, I probably got my GBP suspended no less than 6 times because I work out of the house. And
Yep.
Yeah.
so my original EIN documentation for my business is has my home address and everything on there. So I had to keep uploading that. And then
Okay.
and you kind of have to be a dick to Google and just tell them, like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, you're hurting my business, you're shutting me down, I can't, and you have to
Sure.
complain a lot, and you can go on, like,
Best person to explain
yeah,
that is Anna. She's in the house.
yeah.
Anna, what should we do if she's listening? Anna has a really good answer for that. But I don't know if she's listening, but
I think, Pat,
so
you answered my problem, what I'm doing, and maybe I'm messing this up
Can you
myself.
hear me?
As,
Yep,
oh,
now we
Anna,
can.
yeah, there she
now
is.
we
Thank
can.
you.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to explain that you don't have to be a dick, but what you need to do is make it something that someone, a human at Google, can relate to. Like, this is a security risk. This is putting my family in jeopardy because I don't know who will show up. And I'm in a, like, I'm in Houston, so I can just say I'm in one of the murder capitals of the world. And
Mm.
we have 22 million illegal aliens right here. So what are you doing? You are putting my business, my family, my whatever at risk. Please, can you help me? I understand you don't have to help me. If I've done something wrong, I will fix it immediately. Call me anytime, night or day. Give all your numbers. You have to be like emphatically like you're in fear for your life.
Okay.
Now I wouldn't make anything up saying like, oh, I'm a victim of domestic violence, or, you don't have to go crazy with it, but just you have to explain emphatically that this must be fixed. You're begging them. I usually say begging. I find begging is good. Now, then after you've done that, you post the little Pat Alok, what is it called? The resurgences report or something? It's called something.
Not sure.
I'm not sure.
There's because you're sending this to Google, right?
Yeah.
Aren't you posting it? So it's like a remittance. It's a little
Oh
form
yeah,
where
like,
they're saying
it's
it's their
yeah, like
form.
it's a resubmission, or it's I forgot what they call it, but yeah. So if you're
Because you're
appealing it,
not banned. Appeal, that's it. It's some sort of an appeal. See, I don't think you've ever been approved, but still, you really are in the appeals process. After you've done that, copy and paste all your stuff, your answers and whatever. And then what you want to do is go and post this on Facebook. You want to go on Facebook and find several of the big Google My Business, and there's one of them, it's like an official thing, and it's like, why will no one help me? I'm at risk, blah, 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 blah. Then go and post that on X, Twitter,
Twitter.
right? And then find several groups. I mean, I even did this with Verizon about something totally different with phone. Oh my gosh, I couldn't get any response for a week and a half. I did that, and they didn't want to be looking bad on Twitter, on X. So do that, but basically, if you don't get a response within 2 or 4 hours, do it every 2 or 4 hours. Do
Is
not
just getting like
stop.
a virtual address, like a virtual
So
office with a
No,
physical address can help, or
no,
no?
that
No.
is a terrible
No.
idea. Absolutely
Yeah.
don't do that unless you want to be suspended permanently.
Okay.
Don't do
Because
that.
Google saw through that about 12 years ago.
Mm.
So it's fine for you to have the whatever, but in your video that you shot, did you have like a picture of your door or window with like your logo and picture of you smiling and doing a thumbs up?
Yeah, no. I mean,
Do that.
okay.
Do so when I have lawyer clients, it needs to look a little more professional. So I actually have them like go to some Vistaprint or whatever and print off a little like clear sign of their logo and stick that in their window, right? And then I say, okay, now do the video of you on yourself, right? Or self video or whatever you call it. And it's like, hey, my name is Sam Mercurio, and this is our office. And then you could see we have our logo displayed, and customers are only given this information because we're a law firm, blah, 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 blah. Like you explain, like make it really wordy and like a business owner would be. And we started last year and we're so excited and did it because remember, you're at the point where not a computer is reviewing you or an AI. A human is actually going to look at your case and boom, they're going to approve it. Right? Especially if you go on and on. They don't want to listen to you. They could care less. You've proven that you're real. You have to remember your thing is you can't be a spammer. A spammer would get a listing not listed or delisted or whatever and do nothing about it. Somebody who's really in business is going to be on their ass. And that's exactly what you need to be. I mean, what do you have to lose? You're a real business, right?
Yep.
And I have a question though. So is this what you do on behalf of your clients?
Yes.
Okay. And well, basically, is what you coach them to say in the videos.
I just tell them, just talk shit. Just talk about your business. Talk about how wonderful you are. You're the best lawyer that ever existed, or you love pottery, or whatever it is. It's your business. Because no one said you can't do that. They're trying to verify you're a business owner, that you really run it and whatever. So it can't just be like a silent video
Right,
that is like
That
the
makes sense.
sign, because any loser could do that. You can even AI fake that, but you can't fake someone's emotion of like the reason that I sell Snickers for Amazon is because I love it, da, 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 da. So no one can dispute that, and people know that it's you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much.
It does make
Great
sense.
tips, Anna.
It
I have
does
one
make
other
sense
question,
though,
Alok. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to take up the whole deal. Go
no,
ahead.
Hold on. Let me just finish John and come back to you, Haji. John, go ahead.
So manually, if I want to manually add a business that's already has a Google profile, am I doing that in the agency, or I'm doing that in the agency snapshot, correct?
No, you're
So-
doing that in
Mm-mm.
Redirector.
Yeah,
I'm
so
doing it
there's
in
so
Redirector.
we got the 3 snapshots. Hopefully you got them.
Yeah, I
you,
have them all.
yeah, right now you only need 2 installed, right? You need the redirector, and that's what handles the cards. And
Mhm.
then the agency side is you're just your sales and your customer management.
So in a nutshell, so Redirector is all about cards, activation, deactivation, management. Okay. That's Redirector. That's the engine. Agency is all about communication, payments, and client management. That's the agency, if that makes sense. So if you for your question is, if you want to add someone manually, that means activate a new card, that means Redirector. So anything activation, deactivation, everything is Redirector.
So I'm looking at my redirector right now, and I have a test lead in here, my own self here. Where do I actually make the change to put in my own Google business profile? Is it somewhere in this contact info that I'm adding that in there?
So
Google review link. I see it right here.
Yeah. It's a custom value. So what I recommend is go through the membership area and the videos, because we've laid down things correctly on that. There is a video on all the custom values and everything on there. So what we also recommend, so I'm just reading a message. So anyone who has a team member or someone who's setting up the system for you guys, I still recommend you go through the videos yourself. So just so that you understand what the system is, because your team member may have misunderstood and may have set up the things incorrectly. That is exactly what we find every time we hop on a support call, because this is the main challenge. So what I 100% recommend is everyone here who has this revision system should go through the videos themselves whenever you can. Get someone else to install it for you.
I'm trying. That's why I hired my guys.
Yeah, but So this is the biggest problem we've seen every time we troubleshoot things. Most likely it's a user error where they've not done the things the way we tell them to.
Okay.
So I recommend go through the videos yourself whenever you get a chance. Have a weekend. 2 hours would be more than enough for you. Just go through on 1.5x speed just to understand the whole system and what is where and what to do to fix it and all that stuff. Everything is in there.
Okay, awesome. Hey, I appreciate your guys'
Yeah.
help. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
man,
if
no worries.
you keep having some issues, feel free to post in the group, all that stuff, and then we can always do a Zoom all else fails, we can do a Zoom to figure out what's
Okay,
happening.
I want to get this.
Yeah, I
going on
mean,
my
your
business.
best thing would be to make a post into the Review Genius community. Hopefully, you have access to that. Just make a post in there. Me or Pat or anyone here, any one of our members can also chime in because everyone has their system working set up.
Perfect. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
No worries, man. All right, let's hear from someone else. Anyone else want to open up mic? Let's hear from Charles. What's happening, Charles?
It was a good day.
Nice.
Made my first sale from Google Gemini.
Nice.
Yeah. Client out of India. So, got an appointment from someone from India. You got to ask how the hell they heard about you. Because we had no mutual connections on LinkedIn. So I was like, no idea how this guy found me. Come to find out, he found me through Google Gemini. He was searching for AI-powered CRMs, and it referenced several of our blog articles, and that's how he stumbled across our website. And so he signed up today. So yeah, I was not expecting that. I was expecting like Google or something, but his problem was he already had a CRM. He already had an AI solution. The two just didn't connect. So
Nice.
He wanted to be able to put it all into one place so he could actually use it because he's in India. A lot of his market speaks Hindi, but most of his team does not. They speak English. And there's a bunch of different dialects of Hindi. Right. So his big interest was conversational AI, being able to respond to things. And so we took that for a spin, and he was thoroughly impressed of how it would just sit there switching language after language after language after language, depending on how he typed it. And yeah, it was a water treatment company out of India. So a plant-based water treatment company.
Do you know which CRM they were using before? Just curious, out of curiosity.
I don't.
Okay.
I didn't really get into it. But we did a demo. He had already he engaged with us, set an appointment, watched the recorded demo, and then set an appointment through our web chat and conversation AI. Was happy about the WhatsApp integration, of course. And the fact that conversation AI could handle WhatsApp. And so the only thing he didn't really like was that conversation AI isn't built in for emails, but we kind of covered how you might be able to do it with workflows. Emails are kind of tricky. There's a lot of information in emails that may have nothing to do with the conversation. So
correct.
You kind of got to be careful.
Stick to the objective with email.
It is because some people get absolutely nuts in their signatures, and then you also have if it's a threaded reply.
Yeah,
that's a whole lot of context. So yeah. Signed him up. That was just it was fun, and then we signed up another guy today that he has two companies. He actually bought two different accounts, and so he does home inspections, not for real estate, but more for like maintenance and prevention. And I said, oh, basically you keep the insurance people away from my house so I can actually file a claim. He's like, yeah, basically. And I was like, all right. And he does home remodeling, kitchens, bathrooms, and everything. So he already has a inspection platform that he uses that he does all the scheduling and stuff through that. And then he already has a quoting platform. His problem was communication. getting all the emails into one place where his receptionist can manage things. So he loved the internal chat. He liked the internal commenting in conversations, the fact that there was recorded phone calls because he's got multiple phone numbers. Thankfully, they can all be ported in. So he's going to port all his phone numbers in. One number he's had for over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and he's already been through A2P with the current soft phone solution that he's using. So here he's been down that rodeo and got approved. So at least I know he'll get approved, no problem.
Do they look at past A2P history?
They don't, but he's like, oh yeah, I already have everything you need.
Okay,
It's
good.
like,
Cool.
sounds great. So he was already prepared for that. He was hoping that he could transfer his A2P, and I said, you can't. It's unique to that company, to that account. You can transfer the phone number, but not the A2P. So he's going to get started with live chat on his website with conversation AI. He's going to be using the IVR. He's not sure if he's going to use voice AI, but he definitely wants to use the IVR for emergency after hours calls, call routing, and then just after hour voicemails. So yeah, both of them are only going to be using like 2% of the platform. But it was a good day. So I was just tickled to death that someone found me through Google Gemini. It definitely was not expecting that. So that was nice.
So, Charles, is there an ongoing problem with H2P that you know of? Because I'm hearing, I mean, I haven't verified someone probably in the last month or so, but I heard that it's become tougher to get.
I mean,
the H2P.
Yes and no. I mean, honestly, yes, it's more difficult in some ways, but I will say this: if you're working with an established business, you're probably gonna have little to no problem, because they have all their documentation, they have all their ducks in a row. If you're dealing with a bunch of entrepreneurs, fly by the seat of their pants, good luck to you. Because they're not gonna have jack squat. You'll be lucky if they have an EIN number. It's just different. You just have to follow the guidelines, follow best practices, make sure you have all your documentation and ducks in a row. And is it taking a little bit longer? Yes. Could it get kicked back? Yeah, but then it's usually something small. Resubmit it, and you're fine. And we've gone to the point where we kind of have a checklist. Have you had an EIN number for a minimum of 90 days? Do you have a business email? Do you have a business domain that matches your business license and your EIN? What else? Do you have a terms of service and a privacy policy? If they don't have all those things, we automatically push them to a toll-free number. We hammer them into a toll-free number because we don't want to because you have to have an EIN that's mature, because they're doing database lookups now. They're not just taking your word for it. Like, they're actually looking in the database, and it can take up to 90 days. I mean, it's a freaking government. What do you expect? And then, if they're working with a Gmail or a Yahoo email, forget about it. I'm not going to sit here and educate you on business 101 and why you should have a business email. So we're just going to put them to toll free. The nice thing about it is, even if it gets rejected on toll free, it's no cost. It's just time. So you're not sitting there spending money trying to get approvals. It's still an approval process. Still takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks right now, because there's more people registering for toll frees now because of A2P being a little bit tighter. Right. But it's still a simpler process. You don't have to have a live website. You're uploading screenshots, and you can use boilerplate terms of service and privacy policies. It's no issue. You can use subdomains with websites if you provide a website, and they're fine with subdomains on business email. So you can just spin up a domain and a dedicated email domain, and you're fine. So they're looser on the toll free, so that's why we go that route. So during the onboarding, we just ask them those things, and if they can't say yes to them all, we start pushing them towards the toll free, and it just creates a better experience.
Do you recommend doing both, just as a fallback? Like, initially you try to get them through HUP, but also get them through
No,
the toll free.
I
And
don't
what is
like
the
doing.
disadvantage of doing the toll free?
I don't like doing the fallback, and here's why. Because then what's going to happen is, let's say they have some problems with A2P, they're going to get their toll free number, they're going to start texting and calling people, they're going to start putting that number out everywhere, and then it's like, oh wait, stop using that number. I've got a local number for you. So you're killing all momentum. And it's just, to me, the benefit does not outweigh the frustration of the business owner having to then again switch numbers. If they don't have their shit together, put them in a toll free. Toll frees are not as uncommon as people think they are.
So when
millions
should
of
someone
businesses use toll free.
when should someone go for toll free and private number, like a cell phone number? Like, why not just go for toll free then? What's the benefit of doing the
Well,
other
I mean,
way?
if they have all their ducks in a row and they want a local number, great. We'll do a local number with,
So
and
the
we
only
haven't had
benefit, I
any
guess, is
problems.
just
We
that
haven't had
it's
any
a local
problems with it.
number.
Yeah, I
So
mean, some people
yeah.
still have that stigma, like it's higher value to them.
Mm.
But we try to, during our onboarding, if they can't check all the boxes, we just educate them. Look, onboarding agent will, verify what industry they're in and start to, get them to realize, hey, you understand that like all these companies in your industry use toll free. Text from toll free, call from toll free. Like, if anything, it makes you look like a bigger company than what you really are. Oh, it's toll free. They must have an answering service or a professional, like, oh, these guys are actually legit. It's not just their Verizon prepaid cell phone number, or Google Voice number.
Just to chime in on that.
And also how many like
once,
service areas they have.
Yeah.
Once a customer gets a number, they never want to get rid of it. So if you have this like backup, you're going to end up with 2, 3, 4. Like I had a lawyer with 9 phone numbers because, we were running different ads and they wanted to know blah, 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 each ad. And then when the ad was over, they still didn't want to get rid of the numbers because they're like, well, what if somebody would call? So they never, ever want to get rid of the numbers. So all you're doing is like giving a pacifier to a baby, don't get them hooked on the pacifier. They'll be sucking that pacifier till they're 17 years old, I mean, so there's no reason to have a backup. You're the only one that knows why you would want a backup. The customer, just like Charles is saying, you need a 1-800 number because this is going to best serve you, or you need a local number because you're the expert. You don't need to give them backups that are just going to be a nightmare later for you.
Awesome. Like I always said, you have to prescribe a medicine to them. Don't get them to come to you and say, hey, can I have this? You figure out what's the best solution for them and then give them that option.
Yep.
It's good.
Yeah, it's just trying to simplify the process as much as possible. Ask them the basics. If they don't have the basics, don't beat a dead horse. Like, don't sit there and waste your time. Move on. Like, go the easier path and then move on to the next sale. I mean, otherwise you're just going to be stuck. Now you're going into retention mode. How can I even keep this customer because we're having all these problems? Like, why put that on your plate? It's not worth it.
And that's about the time you post in a HighLevel group and complain about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
About how A2P is just the worst thing ever. So.
Yep.
You'll see at least 10 posts every day on that.
Oh my God, yes.
I saw a couple of people say they got approved in 24 hours today.
Well, if you do everything right, you can be.
Yeah.
Like just what Charles said, you just go through the checklist. It's usually people not following instructions. I went through and I updated my terms of service and my privacy policy to contain exactly what the high level docs said you needed in there, along with the check boxes. They say exactly what they need to say. That, that's it. It works. Done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a problem if you follow instructions. So, you know. Let's see.
All right, let's
Else?
hear from someone else. Who else
Haven't heard
want to
from
open up the
Jared,
mic? We got
Alfonso,
Alfonso, Mauri,
Dave,
Gianna
Brooke,
Deshazer.
or Jenna, or Maury.
Anyone?
Anybody? Any questions? Wins?
Yeah. This is open
Thoughts,
office hours, guys.
concerns,
Anything.
deepest,
Let's talk
darkest
anything.
fantasies. Not you, Charles.
Just to let you know, it's also been live
I'm sitting
streamed
here
on
trying to
YouTube,
figure
so-
out Paige.
Oh, okay.
So I had a follow-up question for Anna. So are you actually providing that as service or just giving them tips on how to get their GMP back? Because I had a couple of folks who asked me, hey, can you help me out when I meet them around? How much, can you do this for me? Are you actually doing it for them? Complaining on their behalf or what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I mean, I don't meet with them to do it for them. They pay me.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. That's what I want to know. How much are you charging them? Like some guys have, there's a roofing guy, he's got like 400 reviews that his profile has disappeared. And he's like, I just need someone to fix this for me.
How much does it mean to him? How important is it for his business?
He knows it's very important. So I'm like, how much should I charge him? And
I know. See,
Yeah.
you're asking the right question to the wrong person.
yeah.
You need to ask him. Well, if I were to drop everything and do this, you understand I have a serious rate, right? So, what do you want? How much does this mean for you? And really, I don't let people get off easy. So if you don't give me a number, I'm just going to keep asking you questions, which doesn't take too long because you can always just hang up the phone and I'm fine with that because I'll go on to the next thing. So what does that mean to you? Because, I mean, I don't even want to get into what my rate is. And they're like, well, what if I pay you $1,000 or $2,000? I mean, what, they have to tell you what it means. And you say, well, normally I charge 1,600, but, I understand you're in a whatever predicament. I mean, you have to decide what amount of work it's going to take. Right? So, okay, he's a roofer, he's this, he's that. What amount of work do you think this is going to take if you were to estimate?
Correct. So as part of that, part B is like, I'm not sure it's going to work, right? Because we got to take some time and there's
I don't ever say that. I don't work for Google. I don't have this issue everyone has with getting a guarantee. I mean, what do you really have a guarantee in life for? There's literally zero guarantees. You go to the hospital, you're going to have a baby. I'm sorry, what was the guarantee? Right? You have a cold, they give you antibiotics, or they give you nothing, or they give you some weird vapor. And what is the guarantee it's going to work? So I just got to tell you, it's never in my mind that someone's going to ask me for a guarantee, and they don't. So, you see what I mean? You're in your mind, you're saying, well, what if this, what if that, what if that, what if a unicorn stabs you, But I haven't seen any unicorns, but it's like, it really boils down not to you, but to them. What does it mean to them? If this roofer, 400 reviews, it means a lot to his business. If this takes more than 2 weeks, it's going to be more than $1,600. If it takes less than 2 weeks, then, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's $1,300, but maybe it's $600. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get that number from him, right? You are not in control of his money. He needs to give you the money so you do the thing that he can't do. But also you can tell him, look, you can go do this yourself, right? Go on there, fill out the form, pray to Jesus. Well, I mean, whoever, pray to somebody. Right? I, I, you know what I'm saying? So that's my thing is that when you are with this person, whether it's face to face, over the phone, or whatever, like somebody's making a sale. He's trying to sell you that he's a poor me, poor victim. How did this happen to me? No, 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 no. How much are you getting paid per roof? How much does this cost your business? I would think this is costing you $50,000 a week at least. I mean, I don't know where you're calling.
Yeah.
Because if you're calling in Australia, I don't know even what their money is over there. I'm just kidding. We were joking about Australia last night. But you see what I'm saying? Like, how much does it cost? And how much does it cost for me to drop everything for you to fix this? This is a lot of time and effort and energy. And my team and I are going to do everything humanly possible to get this done now. So I want to we need to have like, and however you feel comfortable, deposit. If it takes more than 2 weeks, they got to pay more, whatever it is. But I think you'll probably get it resolved quickly. And you need an agreement that he's willing to do whatever it takes. If you got to go over to him and make a video, him hammering some roof tiles, whatever you got to do, you need him to do it. He has to give you his information. You're going to take over his GMB from now on so he doesn't moron this shit up again, right?
Sweet, correct.
And then you can either charge yearly audit after that, or you can put him on monthly. I mean, I would put him on monthly, but not everyone is ready. When they're in emergency mode, you cut your hand, you need your hand bandaged. Then you're like, okay, I need to work on my health. I'm going to go join a gym. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's what you've got to, they can't think non-emergency when they're in emergency. But that's kind of the pricing that, I mean, I just feel would be fair. But he might give you a much higher number. That's why I don't let people make me tell them what I'm going to charge. I need to know what the value is and how serious you are. Then I will, because this is not a standard, hamburger A, hamburger B, hamburger C, right? So it's not standard.
Not, totally not standard.
And if he asks for any kind of a guarantee, you need to look in the mirror because you made him do that. Because nobody asked for a guarantee. Nobody asked me for a guarantee forever. I accidentally billed a customer for a website I didn't make, so I have to make it tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they just expect you send it and then it's done and whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought I did this. But so do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's no guarantees. The guarantee is you. You will not stop working on it until it is fixed.
Totally. Wow. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you, Anna.
My pleasure.
We're gonna do one call just with Anna. It's so good.
Seriously.
I'd say we just start the recording, just let Anna go, and just
That's it.
Well, we have
Whatever
to
you
sing
want.
you
An hour with Anna.
you birthday songs.
Yeah,
I have to
singing you
rewatch.
happy
Yeah,
birthday?
I had to rewatch that.
told-
and see, yeah.
Yeah, I told Pat there was a birthday song we sang for you yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear from Jared. What's happening, mate? What's the updates? You went on 2 business shows or whatever, exhibitions.
Hey man, I'll keep it short.
Update us what happened.
You guys can hear me okay, can't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you. Just got a few PC issues going on at the moment, so I'm on my laptop, which I'm not normally doing. But quick update from my end is I think one of my favorite words that I love from my team is resilience. So in the past 2 weeks, we were approached to go to an expo here in Tassie, which is super, super rare to have a business expo where I live on the little island that I live on. They did one of these last year in one end of the state, and they decided to run it up the other end this year. So they gave me a week's notice and asked if we could go to go along and bring some stuff along. So I frantically worked with Alok and a few others and got the team together. And what we did is we completely redesigned the website because it was very heavily focused on White Label Suite's leads tool. Typically, because we've got a partnership with them, we're using one of their old sites to do that. And so we have the review system, we've got AI, we've got all these different tools that we use, but the website wasn't a good representation of that. So the team redid it all, they gamified it all, they put demos through it all. And then we got our banners and all that together and printed within a week, which was awesome. Went along to the one that's local where I live, and it turned out so good. We gave away, I don't know, like two boxes of review cards to people that come through, which was absolutely awesome. And just like looking at the other gifts that people are giving, they're just so shit. Like they're just like a stress
pen,
yeah, like a pen or
water bottle,
like
or
you know, like your construction
Those
cones on a building
squeezy
site.
balls. Those squeezy balls, I hate those with the logo on them, and you squeeze or a squeezy
Correct.
computer. That's so. It's so. 1998. It's like, come on.
Mega cliche. And so I loved it, right? Because we ended up doing one in Launceston. It went so well that I had a lady that ended up in the booth next to me herding people through to my booth because we just had a giant waiting line of people wanting to talk to us specifically. And I was the only one there for the demos and everything else. So that was great. And then it went so well that 5:30 that night, I convinced the promoter that told me that the event that was happening the following day was full. 5:30 that night, I convinced him to make room for another booth and then traveled a couple of hours down the next day to the other end of the state to hold the event again. And that was a really good turnout as well. So right now, like just even in the early conversations of what we've been doing, we've got probably about $2,500 of recurring income that will come through from this with a lot more to come and a lot more conversations. But the review cards were just a really easy way of doing it. Plus, I used the demo and had Paige set up to my own business. And I think we got 40 reviews in 2 days for our own business, just showing them with the demo. So, you know, it was absolutely awesome. I just basically had it on a thing. And went, right, so what's problem number one that we have? Problem number one is people go, I don't know where to leave the review. We've solved that with the card. Problem number two is I don't know what to write. As you can see, it writes a review. Problem number three is I don't know how to get it on there. So you click that button there, it takes you there and you can paste it. Right. So what you can see is we've got the post, we've done it keyword specific, and then later on my AI bot will come back and write back to that. So it just flowed. I wanted to talk about everything else that we offer. But you're kind of just herding people through at this point. So we had that. We had a landing page. The landing page is gamified. And in the first day, I was trying to get people's business cards. A lot of people didn't have them, and I didn't want to rely on them activating the review card. So overnight, we then put in a form on the landing page that I was directing people to. And then I was literally getting them to fill it out on my phone every time they told me they didn't have a card. So I think that, you know, hopefully there's some learnings there for people that have any expos coming up. They're definitely worth it because you've got a point of difference and you don't have a stupid stress ball or anything like that you're giving away. Plus, it's reoccurring. You know that those people are going to use that card every day of the week, you know, because it's going to be in front of them. They're going to keep using it, and then it's got your branding on it. So that's about me, guys. Happy birthday, Pat.
Thanks,
hope you had a swell day, man. I guess the only other thing that I wanted to ask, guys, is I know that you did an awesome presentation in the group for CloseBot the other week, which was really, really cool. And then I think, Pat, you started going down a bit of a rabbit hole, which I like that you do, showing all these other side alleys of different things that's going on. Yeah. You were talking about some scraping tools and how you do the outreach to talk about the review system. I would love to be able to come along on one of these calls or see a training where we could potentially see what that process looks like that you're carrying out for your business to see how we could implement that for our own.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Do something
We
about
could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do a call on that.
Yep, for sure.
Sounds good.
Jared, quick follow-up call on question. Did you give them the cards free, or did you actually charge them? Because I've been like charging $10.
Yeah, man, I just gave it away. They cost next to nothing in comparison to what I spend on ads. Like what I spend on ads, I spend $100 to $200 a day. The cards are the cheapest lead that you'll pick up anywhere, right?
Cheapest hot lead and active
correct.
lead.
Yeah, you've got someone there, and then you're nurturing them. You know, like I had someone the other day that replied to one of the automated emails that these guys have put together, and they're like, I'm okay to still receiving these emails. Timing wise, it's just not the best timing right now. So we know that they're going to get nurtured by these emails, but these guys have put it together for you. Like, it's set and forget, man. And quite frankly, apologies, Alok, because I know that you've helped me a couple of times, but I get my VA to do everything. I really do. RJ's incredible. He's part of my VA service that we offer. He does everything, right? Sometimes he'll even reply to people like Alok on my behalf to organize things. And so I'm a bit guilty because I'm not in there following all the trainings. I've gone through a few of them, by the way. Pat and Alok, I have done the right thing, done a couple of them. But anything new, he's typically been jumping in and sorting that out as well.
Yeah, nice. No, Ajay's good. I've had a chat with him for quite a while, so he knows himself, which is a good thing.
When you say you gave out boxes, do you mean like boxes that have 500 in them? You gave out several thousand?
No.
So we gave out 2 boxes. So I don't know how many's in a box.
I think it's 100 in a box. 100 in a box.
Like 150, 200 cards. Yeah.
Okay, so this experience with these several expos, you gave out kind of 100 to 200 cards or so.
200 or so. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and have you done other
it's
things?
a small expo as well, Anna. So he's in Tasmania. So
okay.
Yeah, it's a very small expo. Yeah.
And have you or your team been doing any like B&Is or Chamber of Commerce's or anything like that? No?
Okay. Nothing like that.
Okay. Nothing. I really did like your 1, 2, 3 though.
Well, most of my stuff's presentations through webinars and things like that. So I pretty much do all of my advertising not in the States. So, our clientele is probably 2% of Tasmanians, and then the rest of it's Australia, Canada, and the States. So it was nice to actually break into the local market and see how receptive they were or how skeptical they were. And it was quite nice because there is a bit of skepticism. There's people that are like, I use ChatGPT. Does that mean that I can do all of this? There was a lot of questions that were more uncertainty. So it was a nice icebreaker to show them what's there. But I've got to jump off, guys, because I've got a meeting now. But you guys are awesome. Keep up the great work. Anna, love your savageness. Keep that coming. Hope to see that next week. And I'm going to bounce.
All right.
Jared, your site looks good.
Thanks for sharing.
All right.
Right.
What else?
Who else wants to open up? AI Florida. First time on the call, looks like. Or Jenna, what's happening in your world?
I got nothing right now. I'm just doing a lot of stuff on the back end right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any wins?
Do what?
Any wins?
Did you say events?
Any wins?
Any wins to share?
Sorry. Yeah, I had a college sign up last month. And then
college?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then I'd love to pick your guys' brain on this. So I'll sit here and talk with my hands for a minute. So I've been approached by a couple people who are startups, or like nonprofits. So putting together like thoughts around maybe doing some sort of for like a startup nonprofit maybe. Obviously I want to put together like some sort of plan to where like as they grow, like it scales up with them. But if they have a board of directors together and they're like, okay, I have tons of users, and so thinking of like a pricing plan that would maybe make sense for a nonprofit that's a startup, that can scale with them, that would have like a reason for them to upgrade. So I've been thinking on those terms a little bit lately, around pricing.
So your question is, how would you charge a nonprofit? Is that the question?
Yeah, or just a startup in general. So either or.
With nonprofit, I mean, here's my thoughts, and I'm open for anyone else to chime in. With nonprofits, because I think you can claim tax and all that stuff. So if you give it as a donation, get them to give you, I don't know what this called, that there's a term, but basically you give your services to them for them to give you a tax back receipt or whatever. I don't know. So there's a term I'm missing right now, but
No, I know what you're referring to.
yeah. So for the nonprofits, I would do that if they're a startup, very, very new startup. But if you think they have some funds and donations coming in, I mean, by all means, just charge them. Don't discount it. Charge them because they have donations coming in. In fact, throw up a few things which will help them get more donations, because that would be the best thing. At the end, they all want donations to come in, right? They want funds to do the cause they started the nonprofits for. So I would not try to discount our services or our software or whatever is the offer. But if it's a very new, at least you can leverage that they are nonprofit and you can save some on tax. That's what I would recommend for nonprofits.
Yeah, it kind of like the thought of it kind of took me by surprise the other day. I was like, well, I've never thought about it specifically because I don't work with a lot of nonprofits or startups, but this was like a referral. So
yeah, one call comes to my mind. I saw a call with Tim Sabir in with HighLevel. He did it's
like
on HighLevel's
with an
YouTube
interview.
channel.
Yeah, he's
No,
great.
so he did a masterclass. He did a masterclass, so 2 or 3 day masterclass with Paulson.
Oh yeah, I remember
so
he
in
did
one
one
of those,
about government contracts.
That's right.
correct. On that,
But I
think
didn't
the
remember the
second day or somewhere.
nonprofits. Okay, yeah,
he
I'll check
talks
it out.
about that as well. He talks
Cool.
about that as well, how he approaches nonprofits.
Interesting.
Yeah, that, by the way, that masterclass which he did for 3 days with Paulson on HighLevel's channel, so many good nuggets in there, like so many.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
Everyone should watch it. Yeah, everyone should watch it.
Who was that again?
Tim Sabir.
Okay.
Tim Sabir. I'll try to find the video. I'll post it in the chat.
He's the one that owns Go CSM.
Go CSM. Yeah.
Okay. Jenna, if I can speak to that for a second. I just had a recent experience with a local foundation, and they came to me, and I think I understand your heart is like you don't want to take away from people who are trying to help other people, but and I'm very much the same way. But this guy came to me and he's organizing this gala fundraiser. It's a one night evening, and I said something about, well, I'm Dutch and like I'm just notoriously frugal, and I talk, I just try to always give the best value. And he goes, I understand that, but sometimes impactful is more important than inexpensive. And so he was asking me to create a centerpiece. This is my sign business, a centerpiece. And I said, well, that's going to be about $10,000. He goes, no problem. Like the reason it's no problem, and we're talking about decals on the back of a chair that have the logo in 2 colors and stuff like that, and they have to be seen from both sides. Well, that's going to be $65 per chair for me to create it and cut it, and it's 600 chairs. So this is a $50,000 job, but he's going to create millions of dollars of donations because it's so over the top, it's so impactful. So for me to save him $10,000 on a $50,000, that's 20% off. For me to save him $10,000 on a $50,000 job is only going to hurt me because it's not going to help his business at all. He's not going to be impacted by the millions of dollars less of donations, or even $10,000 less of donations that I saved him. So by you coming to him with an actual product that helps him generate donations or get reviews or build their coffers, you are a legitimate line item expense, whatever you charge. You have to think of yourself as you're aiding them getting more money.
You're not costing them money. And they are a nonprofit. So nonprofit means that all the money that they get, they put back into getting out, getting results, right? It doesn't mean that they're non-expense. They're huge expenses. Okay. Hospitals are huge expenses, but they're very often nonprofits. And the ones that are actually for profit are actually run better than ones that are nonprofit because they're trying to make money. And the more money they make, the more money they have to put back into their care and equipment and staffing and all this other stuff. So I would think of it as you're not there to support them as a donor. You're there to support them to help get more donations. And for that, they have to pay. And they're better off to pay someone who does the job really, really, really well a lot of money than they are for them to pay a little bit of money and get a little bit of results. Food for thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I posted the timber stuff. Do you see it?
Christina? Yeah, I did.
Okay, so
That's a good one.
one thing I want to understand is this a nonprofit in the United States of America?
Yes.
So, you know, tax-wise, even a nonprofit has to make profit or the IRS shuts them down, right? So there is no such thing really as a nonprofit. We really shouldn't even have this designation. It's ridiculous. But the bottom line is, this is exactly his point. They need donations, they need impact, they need to, let's say they're a nonprofit for energy production, right? They have a ton of money, but most importantly, you said, oh, if they have a board, they always have a board. Everything you do is going to have to go through a board process, and it's long, and there's nothing that's fast. Even if they could approve something that's low money fast, they can't approve any of the big stuff fast, right? I mean, they have to get board approval. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I always found with nonprofits and all that, you have to go through a lot more work. And I honestly think you should charge more.
Yeah.
But it depends on what it's like you've got to identify all kinds of stuff. You've got to find out, do they have an RFI process? Do they have an RFP process? What is going to be involved to help them? So they got to tell you, how is it that I can help you? Because we need you to be really successful. So what does that look like? And what does that take? How are we going to do that? And you kind of have to ask them a bunch, different ways, not like a reporter, but more like a mind reader, and figure out what their pain point is, because you're like mentally willing to drop your price or shift around. You shouldn't even be thinking of pricing. It's just like, how much more can I charge you to make you a success? Maybe I'm going to team up with Timber and work on this with you, right? This might be a really, really big deal. You don't know. Right? So price shouldn't even enter your mind. They're not going to get a discount. You know what I mean? Because even nonprofits have to make profit. Even every single government agency, like the Department of blah, 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 whateverness, they have to make a profit. That is like required by our government. So, that's actually what Timber goes on and on about with his go CSM and others. But this one is the one that Alok was talking about. But
yeah,
I'm telling you, it's just amazing. And this could be like a super duper awesome niche for you, because there's several ways to scrape lists for new businesses and new nonprofits. You know what I mean? If you got good at this would be like amazing for you.
I just always like the nonprofits that we have. The biggest selling point, I know one of the biggest struggles they have is human resources, actual human time.
Yeah.
And so I always focus on that. I'm like, okay, let's look at your operations, things that you're always trying to find more people, or you struggle to find people to do, like calling donors, updating donors, reaching out, keeping track of things. Like, how much of that can we automate? Now think about how much you can use those people for other things that you can't, there's no way to automate it. And so I just always like focus their attention on that. Community outreach things, partnering with other organizations. Like anytime you run an event, wouldn't it be great to be able to just click 2 buttons and be able to send out an invitation to all your normal partners and send it out to all the newspapers and press releases? Like, wouldn't it be great to do all this with a couple clicks of a button? How much more could you get done that take actual human intervention if you weren't having to do all this yourself? And just being able to track like donations and everything. I mean, it's a no-brainer for a lot of them. I mean, call routing. How the heck do you handle your phones in your nonprofit? Who's there to answer the phone? Do you have full-time staff that work in the office? Do you not have full-time staff? Some do, some don't. It depends on how big they are, how established they are, how that particular nonprofit operates, what kind of niche they're in, because nonprofits have their niches. And you just kind of look. That's how I approach it. But I don't. If I give them a discount, it's very minimal, and they've got to have like 3 or less involved in the nonprofit. But then I have to get documentation from them. They have to prove their status, and I just use that as I write it off as a donation. So
Okay, cool.
I don't
Thanks,
end
Charles.
up losing money that way.
Yeah.
So I still get the money. But maybe I give them $100 off or something, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. With that, any other last comments, thoughts, questions? Been more than an hour here, so trying to wrap it up.
Nothing?
Looks like no one.
Now, one thing I was wondering is, has anybody done, like I guess you use Outscraper and Scrape or however you get your list. Has anybody used Try Kixie or any other thing that's like a predictive dialer to do cold calling?
No.
Heard good things about Kixie, but haven't used it.
Wave is another good one I've heard good
Yeah,
stuff about.
Yeah.
Wave?
Yeah.
Wave. Yeah, Wave is the one.
WAVV.
Wave, isn't that a like QuickBooks?
No.
Oh,
No, there's another Wave.
There's another Wave.
there's more waves.
Yeah, there's more waves. Wave, I met at Wave and Pixie. I met them both at Level Up. And Wave they have a ton of documentation. They have a killer support team. Like, they've got their crap together, and they're built on Twilio. Like, they integrate with Twilio. They integrate cleanly into HighLevel. Pixie does not use Twilio. Interestingly enough, they use another much smaller provider that they got in with early, and that's how they're able to offer slightly better rates. Take that for what you want. I'm gonna stay with Twilio because, well, they're big and well established and they ain't going anywhere. So if I needed support, I would stick with Wave. That's just my personal opinion. So, but they do multi-dials. They do it all. There's the website. I just put it in the chat.
That's not an affiliate link, Charles.
It's not an affiliate link.
Are you okay?
I
you feeling all right?
I'm making it barely, but
All
making
right.
it.
Yeah, you look like you're a little out of it today.
No, I'm trying to deal with this page thing.
What's wrong with
Yeah,
Paige?
drop me your email.
Nothing.
I'll check with the team.
I already sent in a ticket.
You did.
So
Cool.
yeah.
So what's the problem?
Well, I'm not going to resell it to clients, and I didn't realize that you had to pay $100 just to have the white label service and no business attached, which seems stupid to me. But since you don't get any special pricing for your sub accounts, it's still $99 a sub account. So why the fuck am I paying $100 for white label? Just my 2 cents. So yeah, so I didn't realize that because it's not transparent in their sign up process. They don't
You have
say
to pay
that
$100
anywhere.
just for the white label?
Yeah,
I don't think I did.
but no, what, charge
You
me
should have had a
$100 right off the
trial.
rip. Well, I have
You
a
should
trial
have
for
a
my
trial.
business.
Hmm.
I have a trial for my business, but not for
I
the
didn't have to. I
white
didn't get
label.
charged for that. That's new.
I don't
Yeah, that's
know.
why I didn't get charged as well.
The agency partner program.
Yeah, did you buy that?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what gives
Yeah.
you the white
Oh,
label.
partner program, yeah.
Yeah, the partner program is yeah.
Yeah. No, hold on.
Well, I
No.
figured
White
I would
label, you
at
can
least
just-
for the
you can just do
$100
it.
get my own damn business as part of it, but apparently not.
Well, Charles,
No, hold on. So there's two different things. Let me
Yeah, you
just
guys are talking
clarify.
about two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So agency partner program is just like a private community which you pay $100 for. That's separate.
And it comes with
Page.
white label,
Yeah.
video, and several other
Yeah,
things.
marketing assets and heat maps and all that stuff. That's agency partner program. That's the $100 a month. Page, the tool itself has a free trial, I think 3-day trial or maybe
It's
a $1 trial, whatever.
Yeah, it's a dollar
It
trial.
keeps on changing. Yeah. So you can white label it even for that $1, the tool itself. Okay, you don't have to
Yep.
pay for it. You can literally white label it. And then if you decide to continue, then you would charge you after 3 days of trial for the business you attached to Page. So there's two separate things. So maybe you joined the agency partner program and that's what you got charged for.
Yeah.
I did, and I sure as hell
Yeah.
don't want that.
No, just
Yeah,
ask
just
him for
send him
a
a ticket.
refund.
Dude, he's very responsible. He'll
You
refund
didn't need to join that. You didn't need to join
Yeah.
that.
He'll
When
refund
when
you.
you're
He's very
ready,
responsive.
yeah.
All right.
Hopefully you
kids.
used our affiliate link though, but just saying.
Yeah.
I didn't have it. You don't put it in the chat often enough.
We do.
Look, man, do I have to teach you how to use affiliate links like fucking every 2 seconds? Put them in there.
Charles is just shotgunning those links all night long.
Yep.
You could have used mine, Charles.
You got keyboard macros.
Everybody's got an
Charles.
affiliate link. Yeah. everybody's got an
Charles has
affiliate link.
keyboard macros. He just hits a key like bam,
No,
links.
I don't.
Don't lie to me, Charles.
All right, with that, let's end this thing.
All right, kids. See you guys next week.
See you guys next time.
All right.
He's got to throw it in
There
there.
you go. Check out the link.
There they are.